Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey right into our own heads. We're going to explore a comforting, super practical guide to understanding our minds, and we're using ancient wisdom that is, honestly, incredibly relevant today. We're breaking down a classic Sanskrit text called ABHYAASVASHGAM MANAH. But hey, don't worry about the complex philosophy. We're keeping it simple, using everyday Rajasthani concepts like adat and gusso. Think of this as just a friendly chat about why we do the things we do and how we can actually find a little more peace in our daily lives.
Okay, so let's just dive right into this universal struggle. Why do we make mistakes, even when we're genuinely trying our absolute best to be good? I mean, it's one of those questions that can literally keep us up at night, right? We know what the right thing to do is, yet somehow we still find ourselves snapping at a friend, or, eating that third slice of cake, or procrastinating on a massive project. If you've ever felt frustrated with yourself for slipping up like that, well, I want you to know you're completely normal and you're definitely not alone.
What we're looking at here is a famous conversation from the great epic, the Mahabharata, taking place right smack in the middle of a battlefield. The warrior Arjuna is asking his guide, Krishna, that exact same question. Now, Arjuna was a great hero, a highly disciplined archer, yet even he felt completely overpowered by his own mind. He felt like he was basically being forced to make mistakes against his own will. And honestly, it's incredibly validating to realize that this struggle to make the right choices, it isn't just some modern problem. It's a deeply human one that even the greatest heroes faced. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is that our biggest obstacles aren't actually outside of us. The real battlefield isn't a physical place at all. It's hidden right inside our own minds.
Mahara Bhitari Dushman, or our inner enemies.
Let's start with our first inner enemy. It's called kama. We can really just think of this as icha, which means an unchecked desire. Now, to be clear, this isn't about basic human needs. It's about wanting something too much. Imagine you see an ad for a shiny, brand new smartphone. Your current phone works perfectly fine, right? But suddenly this intense craving just completely takes over. You literally cannot stop thinking about it. That intense, uncontrolled wanting that distracts you from what truly matters? That is kama at work.
And right behind kama comes its twin. It's called krodha. We can call this gusso, or anger. And according to our text, krodha is born directly from kama. It's the anger that bursts out when our desires are blocked or frustrated. Just think about a kid, or let's be real, even an adult, fighting with his sibling over a toy. The desire for the toy itself, that's kama. But when they're told no, or when someone else takes it, that resulting tantrum or resentment, that's krodha. They're basically just two sides of the exact same coin.
These two internal forces, that unchecked desire and the resulting anger, they act as incredibly powerful enemies. They cloud our judgment and push us right off the right path. But here is the most important takeaway from all of this. Simply recognizing these two internal forces is a massive victory in itself. Spotting your own isha and gusso the moment they arise is the very first step to winning that battle inside your mind. Because, well, you can't tame what you don't understand, right?
Moving on to Section 2, Patan Ri Siddhi, the Stairs of Downfall. So, our source material outlines this absolutely fascinating step-by-step psychological chain reaction. It shows exactly how these inner enemies take control. Let's walk through this domino effect slowly because it honestly happens to all of us. Step 1. You start thinking about a thing. Let's say you're endlessly scrolling through social media, staring at someone's picture-perfect vacation photos. Step 2. You start wanting it. That attachment grows. Step 3. You get angry if you're stopped or if you realize you just can't have it right now. All that frustration bubbles up. Step 4. You lose your senses. The text calls this a delusion, where your memory and your common sense just get completely clouded. You actually forget everything you already have to be grateful for. And finally, Step 5. Making a bad choice. Your intellect is destroyed in that single moment, and you act foolishly. Maybe by snapping at your partner or making a totally reckless purchase. The whole shebang. It's a complete chain reaction. But acknowledging this domino effect is one thing. Understanding the logic, that's the easy part. But actually stepping in and stopping it, that feels incredibly difficult for pretty much everyone. Which brings us to the nature of the mind itself.
Section 3, Chanchal Man, which means the restless mind.
Returning to our source text for a second, Arjuna makes this beautiful, almost desperate complaint to Krishna. He says, "The mind is as restless as the wind." Just imagine standing out in a vast desert, right? And you're trying to catch a fierce, swirling sandstorm in your bare hands. It's totally impossible, right? Well, that is exactly how it feels when you try to force your mind to calm down when it's caught in that loop of desire and anger. It's powerful, it's stubborn, and it's just incredibly restless. And I really want to validate exactly what you might be feeling right now. It is completely natural for the human mind to be this way. Try thinking of the mind not as some well-trained dog, but rather like a stubborn wild camel. It wants to wander. It wants to react. It wants to just follow its urges. So if you struggle to meditate, or if you find yourself getting caught up in those stairs of downfall we just talked about, please do not feel bad about it. You're simply dealing with the natural state of the human mind. So how do we actually fix this? Interestingly, Krishna doesn't tell Arjuna to just give up. Instead, he offers a remarkably simple two-step method for taming this wild animal of a mind.
That brings us to Section 4, Abhyasa or Vairagya, practice and detachment.
To solve this, Krishna offers us two reins that we need to steer the mind. On the one hand, we have abhyasa, which means practice. Think of it as building a good adat or habit. It's the repeated, gentle effort of bringing your mind back to focus. And on the other hand, we have vairagya, which translates to detachment. We can think of this as chutkara, or letting go. It means slowly loosening our tight grip on the things that harm us, and realizing we don't actually need every single thing we desire. And here's the key. You need both to succeed. Practice without detachment is completely exhausting, but detachment without practice, that just leaves you aimless.
So how do we actually use these tools in real, everyday life? First off, just notice when you want something too much. Try to catch that isha early. Second, pause before the anger, the gusso, takes over. Just take a breath. Third, gently guide your mind back to the present moment. That right there is your practice, your abhyasa. And finally, let go of what you can't control. That's your detachment, your vairagya. Remember, this is literally about training a wild animal. You wouldn't yell at a wild camel to make it tame, would you? No, you'd be patient and you'd be consistent. So be just as gentle and patient with yourself during this continuous practice.
We've covered a lot of ground today, looking at this ancient wisdom that so perfectly maps out our modern psychological struggles. By recognizing our inner enemies and using those twin reins of practice and detachment, we really can find some peace. So I want to leave you with this question to reflect on. Which wind in your mind will you start taming today? What is one small desire, or maybe one frustration, that you can practice letting go of right now? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you master your own beautiful, restless mind.